What's up, everybody?
Hello, welcome to Reddit Lane.
So if you don't know, this is my actual real life sister. And we talked about it, and we thought that this would be a good safe space to do an open panel on domestic violence. So, Lainey, do you want to introduce yourself? Because this is her first live stream, y'all. So I told y'all be nice to my sister.
Yes, please be nice to me because I'm a little bit nervous. I told Mims, I was like, I'm so nervous. And he's like, no, these are my people. They're going to treat you well. They're going to be good. So I was like, okay, let's just jump into it. Right. When Mims brought this up to me, it was my initial reaction or my initial response to it was, oh, okay, fine, I can do it. Domestic violence, I can talk about it. This is, going to be an easy one. But yeah, the more I thought about it, it's not so easy. Um, I have a lot to say about it, but it's very emotional. So, I mean, I have my own personal story that I'm want to share. I know we're going to start off talking about Cassie
Not
and
come
Diddy.
on, face. I'm the face, not
What?
her. I'm the face. Okay, sorry.
Are you reading comments? I wasn't able to read what I was telling, but anyway, yeah. So I think the first thing we're going to start off talking about Cassie and Diddy. I know it's the top, of everybody's topics. Everyone's talking about it. It's on CNN. It's on in the New York Times. Like I saw it as breaking news yesterday, and I was like, okay. Initially, I would have thought this is gossip. When I saw it there, I was like, okay, no, this is big news and it's serious, and everybody's talking about it. So, of course, just to kind of break down, Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy for $30 million, alleging all sorts of horrific abuse. And I know we watched Mims yesterday. We talked about the 35 pages of it. So I probably won't go deep dive into that, but we all kind of know what's going on. And I know that, I want to use my platform as, again, as Mims said, a safe space for people to be able to share. And we can talk about how they feel about this topic and how they feel specifically about Cassie and Diddy Cassie filing the lawsuit.
Does domestic violence have to be just between like two partners that are in a relationship?
No, I don't think so. By
Can children
definition.
be? Can children be domestic violence? Is if you abuse a child, like your child, is that considered domestic violence?
My understanding is domestic violence is anything that happens in the household, right? And I don't know if that's the specific definition, but that's my understanding of it. So it could be child abuse, elder abuse, in a relationship, any of those things.
Violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse. So that says typically, but it doesn't mean
Necessarily.
domestic violence can be, physical, sexual, emotional, economic, psychological, or technical actions or threats or patterns. So, I mean, by that definition, I have experienced domestic violence.
Absolutely.
But we will get into that. So definitely subscribe, guys. This is not going to be her only type of content. She likes like Reddit things, and do not let this woman fool you, because my pop culture stuff came a lot from her. So she's acting all pulled up because she has on that nice top, but technically she is as much of a mess.
Cute.
She's as much as they tell me my clothes are fake. So I do want to say this. If you did catch my live, I did like a whole deep dive on Diddy and surviving Diddy. There was one thing that a subscriber came to me and was like, there are multiple dates of birth for Sarah, which was Diddy's third baby mama. So the date of birth that I had was from 79, which would have made her extremely young. But somebody else said her date of birth was 74. So that's a lot.
Still very young. Still very.
No, but I mean, like, that would have put her at 16 with Tupac.
Right.
Right when he got out at 95. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research, but I put an update on my video to let people know that. So, of the stuff that you have seen, what was the most impactful things that you heard?
Regarding the lawsuit.
Yeah, like the abuse she went through.
I mean, all of it really was, but the pulling of the hair, like pulling her hair out, I guess that part of it, when I heard that, knowing that she shaved the side of her head because he had ripped her hair out, that is horrific. Having her sleep with male prostitutes. I mean, it's just so much of the control that was there and the things that he did just to degrade her and berate her, allegedly, right?
Mhm.
Um, the whole thing was just horrible. Knowing that they started dating when she was 19, which is technically a kid. I think about myself when I was 19, like I was a totally different person. It's he groomed her and made her into, what he wanted her to be.
A drug addict.
Right.
And his whore.
Absolutely.
That's really what he wanted. And that's why I think that he's even more disgusting, because it wasn't like, oh, I took you on a date. He forced this woman to kiss him, and she was his employee at that point. She forced the initial reaction. And I think she used the term, he was paying me. I realized he was paying me so that I could be his whore. That was like horrific for me to hear, that he has embedded in her, I'm your whore. And
Yeah.
I'm getting paid in real time during those FOs, those freak offs.
Well, and the other thing about it is, initially I'm sure she was probably flattered, right? I mean, that's how those situations kind of start. You think of it like someone at 19, you have this person, Diddy, who has all this money and he has all this clout and he's, able to help you. I think she was probably, flattered with the attention, and I think it probably took a turn for the worse at one point. I think there was probably like a pivotal point in their relationship when she realized that, uh-oh, I'm in too deep. Like I've gotten too far into this. This is not what I thought it was going to be,
Get into that, because some people do not feel as though she was a victim completely. Some people feel as though, like you said, she was flattered by the money and the attention at some point, and she's just not addressing that in her lawsuit. And to that, I feel like maybe, but I wouldn't put it in my damn lawsuit either. You know what I mean?
That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. And these stories of abuse, including my own story, it starts off as a love story, right? Like you don't get into it just, you meet somebody one day, they hit you and you're like, yeah, that's what I want to be a part of. Like that's not how it happens. It has to happen. They lure you in some sort of way, right? And then once they've gotten you to a certain point, that's when the abuse starts. It's not something that, you start off doing it. Like that's not how he would have gotten her. Right. I mean, I'm sure she thought it was an okay relationship, but I don't think that makes her culpable as a victim. Like, I don't think that, you blame her for that. Like she was a kid. I mean, I think 19's a kid.
Definitely young, impressionable. And now you're in a business where you're attractive, and now men are kind of like looking at you, and these are grown men and these are very powerful men. And like she said, he was this old man who just kissed me. I didn't even know what to do with that. So she just went along with it. And then by the time he's giving her ecstasy, just here, pop this. She had no idea like really what she was getting into. And now to hear she has a full on addiction to drugs is horrible. Addiction to drugs, PTSD, it's pretty bad. What about the pop? Because that took me out. Did you hear that part?
No, tell me. You mean about her carrying the weapon?
No, this was where he asked her specifically, what do you call your grandpa? And she said, Papa. And he said, that's what you need to call me moving forward.
That is disgusting. I must have missed that piece.
It was a lot of pages. It was a lot of reading.
Yeah. And like I said, I listened, but it was like some of it, it got to be a little bit triggering. You kind of skim through and you go through and you read, and it's like, okay, I get the gist of it. But
Hold on. They want me to put, people are still over on the other site wanting me to put your channel in the comment section of this video. Sorry, I'm listening.
Yeah. No, all I was saying is like, yeah, I think that was absolutely disgusting. And I did not hear that piece of it. But again, it's about control. It's really about control.
So your comment section to the right, can you see any of them?
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay, so if you click on any of them, it'll actually pull it to the screen so you can highlight.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly. Oh, wow.
Now, reworked, fun fact, She she owns her own black business. She is a PR consultant.
Oh wow.
Now,
Work.
this one over here, although me and Portia call ourselves journalists, she's actually a journalism major. Or you were, a journalism person.
Yeah. Not doing that now, but yeah, I was.
I'm sorry, she corrects me. She's a brand strategist. My bad.
And that's player Mushai. Am I pronouncing that right? Mushai? He is psycho. Yeah, I agree. I think that Diddy is psycho. And let me just say, I know that I'm saying allegedly when I'm talking about these things, but I absolutely believe Cassie and I stand with her. Diddy kind of grosses me out too. And not just from what she's saying, but a lot of what other people are saying about him too. I mean, a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork and having, showing their support for Cassie, and I'm actually loving that. I think that's amazing that people are supporting her. So often that people come out, and I know that I think my algorithm and its algorithming, as I'm going through the internet and I'm looking at social media, I'm seeing a lot of people that are supporting Cassie.
Mhm.
But in some of the comments, I'm also seeing just a few people that, are also saying that they don't necessarily support her and that they think that, she's a gold digger and she's out for money. And for me personally, I kind of hate to see that. I hate to think that, when people are sharing their stories or they're telling something that, you just come out and say that they're a liar automatically. I say give them the benefit of the doubt in those situations, And someone here.
Is someone here?
PT heads up. If these allegations are true, then he sounds worse than R. Kelly, and that's saying something. Absolutely. And I think right now, it's going to be trending if it's not already. Is what surviving Diddy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that anybody expected the amount of press that this has gotten, and it is a very polarizing topic. For me personally, I believe Cassie, but I'm always very interested to hear people's perception who don't. Things have gotten pretty heated in some of these chats and debates, and I do think that I feel like you can be coerced into a lot of things. And I think she was very young, very impressionable, and you don't have your family there. So the only person that you have is the person that's saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then they beat you, and then they give you gifts, and then they're getting you. Anytime you give somebody GHB, which is the date
Right.
drug, that R word is one that YouTube doesn't like.
Oh, so I can't say that.
Yeah, I usually just say like the R word, but yeah, if you're giving somebody that kind of drug, that could put you to sleep. Like you could be laying there like a corpse,
right?
And some people are into that.
It sounds like this man is into a whole bunch of stuff. Like, let me just say, like, he's into some real foul stuff.
The Bodyguard. Okay, so you're not monetized yet, so I can be a little bit more. The Bodyguard had said that he likes Cassie's nails white. We also saw Sarah has white nails. They're showing all these pictures of people in his orbit with white nails, but apparently it's because he likes big black dick and he wants to see the white nails on that. So that's why she had to wear white nails. And after he was tired of getting the escorts, he was making her get the escorts. And he kept saying, and you better find one with the big black dick.
Wow.
So I'm really curious to know what she didn't put in there, because she never said that there was ever any interaction with the man and Diddy. But I feel like there'll be more coming out. Where
I think so too.
Yeah, if she was smart, she should release more and more. And technically, his biggest secret is that he messes with men allegedly. So let that be your go-to.
Is it a secret though? Yes, it really is.
Nobody has survived to tell her. I mean, Gene Deal, his bodyguard, kind of said some things. People have alluded to it, but there is a video that's very weird. It's him Trey Songz, which already is problematic, Justin Bieber, Odell Beckham. And they're all basically crowding around so you can't really see. And then somebody comes with a camera and it looked like Justin Bieber was on his knees.
Really?
And he had to get up real quick, and Odell Beckham is fixing up his pants. So yeah, that's something I can't put on YouTube, but yeah, that video is out there.
You saying that gives me chills. Like, ew. You know? Oh my gosh.
Tanika, can you put up Tanika's comment?
Oh, hold on. Where is that?
Tanika Lachey. And the one up from that.
This one? Okay.
We have two Tanikas.
Do
we have two Tanikas, one with 2 Ks and one with 1 K. But you want to read it?
Yeah. Question. Diddy recently gave his artists their masters. Do you think he had some heads up that something was coming, so he did this to get ahead of the narrative? That's interesting. That's absolutely possible. Because I don't think we've ever seen Diddy do something nice.
Changed his name to Brother Love.
Right?
Gave people their masters. And now all of a sudden he's getting all of these lifetime achievement awards for what, per se? Now, when he was with Mary and he was doing like the remixes, I could kind of get it, but it was never his own music. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting a lifetime award. I feel like he almost bought those. So yeah, he's putting out a new album. And according to him, Cassie had been trying to shake him down for a while. So Tanika, you might be onto something.
Right. And I think, even like I was telling you earlier today when I was on Instagram and I saw that, he's posting pictures of his girls and their galore cover and, all these family pictures. You look through all of his, feeds and it's like all this family stuff. And it's like, Diddy, is that who you really are? Because I feel like, even though you may not be doing anything, with your family or to your family, I'm sure that they all know what's going on. You can't hide something like this. The type of abuse that Cassie is alleging can't be hidden, right?
No, I mean, Kim, allegedly Misa, Virginia, and he does seem to like a racially ambiguous girl.
Yeah.
Virginia, Cassie, I would say Kim was the only person with like some melanin that he was really interested in. And yes, somebody said masters with an NDA is what I'm hearing. Yes, you can't talk about me. There was another guy, I think his name was Mark Curry. He did an interview way back in 2009 and wrote a book where basically he was saying they get you because they offer you all this money. And then it's like, okay, well, now this contract, I just need you to take a picture. Go ahead and just take your shirt off. Let's just take a picture. So then you juxtapose that with him telling 50 Cent, we need to be hanging out. We need to be hanging out. Let me go ahead and take you shopping. I'll pay you for it.
That was hilarious, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
The way Diddy reacted to that. Like, you gonna take me shopping? Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, he did something else. He was drunk around a bunch of like big time people like T.I. and them, and he was like, he kept calling them daddy. And it was so weird. And so, look, Diddy's sexuality is bigger in his head than it is for everybody else. Because everybody's already talked about all these things for so many years, but I think that he just does not want to pull the trigger on that conversation.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, I don't think that he wants to answer it either way because he doesn't, right? He doesn't confirm or deny, does he?
He's never like, I don't think he's ever confirmed anything about his sexuality other than he likes to be like freaky.
Right.
Fab looks so uncomfortable. Fab needs to worry about not knocking women's teeth out his damn self. That's what Fabulous needs to worry about. So we were talking a little bit earlier about domestic violence. So as I was hearing this and thinking about it, I do think that I was a victim of domestic violence. And my abuser, after they would abuse me, I had to tell them I love you. That's some sick stuff.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really thought of it as a domestic issue, you know. It wasn't like sexual, it was definitely a physical abuse, but to beat on a kid and then have to say I love you. And then I have a mouth.
Right.
And so one time I said, I love you, mommy dearest. And I got beat so bad. I got beat so bad.
Well, I have to say that person did hate the moniker "mommy dear."
I got it so bad when I said
And
that.
that was probably, like I said, thanks to me, because they hated that, because that's what I always described them as. Because I actually had that situation happen, from the movie Mommy Dearest, and I'm probably aging myself when I'm talking about this movie, but I don't know if you remember the part where she threw Comet in the tub and
Mm-mm.
she made the little girl clean it up. Yeah, that was me in real life. And then she took out all the wire hangers. Did you ever have the wire hangers taken out?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. She took
Uh,
out all the wire hangers.
um, yeah, no, I reworked. This was definitely abuse. But yeah, sometimes my subscribers come to me and we have open conversations and they'll DM me if I say something that they don't necessarily like. And some of them feel I'm too close to the situation to be impartial. And that's fair. I do feel like sometimes, you grew up with a single mom, so I usually support the single mom. If I see somebody who's been abused, I know what that feels like, so I oftentimes support the person who is the victim. But I do think that even in that, if something looks like bullshit, I'll call it out. It gets dangerous
Absolutely.
though.
Absolutely. But I feel the same way, because, having been in that situation myself, both, as a child and as an adult, I do feel like I'm more sympathetic and I'm understanding of people who come out with their stories. Growing up with abuse, I think for me kind of led into me getting into a relationship that, there was domestic violence there as well. So I mean, it's hard. It's really, really hard. I know there's like so many people out there with stories of domestic violence, whether it be, childhood abuse, or if it's, in a relationship. It's just so many different forms of abuse that someone can go through. And it's horrible. It's really horrible. And that's why I'm really glad that this topic came up, so that, people could have the opportunity to talk about it. And, it brings it to the forefront and more people see it and more people say, like, that resonates with me. And I can talk about my story and I feel comfortable talking about my story, because the more they hear about it and the more you talk about it, I think it's kind of therapeutic.
So you might want to take the comment off now.
How do I do that?
You just click on any other comment.
Oh, okay.
And then you can also highlight people's comments as you go. So I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about your personal experience, and then we'll drop the link for people to come up. So, share whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay. Well, I clicked on another comment. So do I go ahead and read that one from Rainbow?
You can. And
At
it's
19, I married a man who abused me for years, and because of his financial status, I was ridiculed when I left him. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's similar to Cassie's story, being 19 at the time. So you understand totally her being at that age and how impressionable and how, it's almost like a grooming situation, or it actually is, grooming a child.
what I hear in that is you left. So let me see. And because of his, yeah, you left him. That's the most important part. The fact that you were able to recognize that he didn't mean you any good and you got away from the situation with your life. That's the most important part. People are always going to ridicule what they don't understand because they weren't in your bedroom. They weren't there when this person was abusing you. So
Yeah.
I'm really sorry you went through that.
And kind of like, with my story, and I was going to share a little bit of that.
Don't forget
And
to take the comment off.
let
Or
me,
you can click on any other comment and it'll go. Or just click it one more time.
oh, okay, got it. Thank
Mhm.
you. Yeah, so I was going to share a little bit of my story before we kind of go into a live and kind of, let everyone else kind of tell their stories. And I get a little bit nervous talking about it just because it's emotional. And the more I thought about it, when we talked about it, like I said, I, there were emotions and feelings that were brought up that I hadn't thought about in over 20 years now, but I got married really, really young. And I say really, really young, but I was 21, I believe. It was a long time ago. So I was 21 when I got married. And initially everything started out, great. We were in love, we had a family. And I always say that you never really know a person until you have a conflict, It doesn't start off bad. It kind of like eases into that, And so for me, we'd had small conflicts, but I didn't have any signs of abuse, or so I thought. When hindsight, looking back, there were some signs there, but I'll kind of get to that later. But there were several times that there was abuse, But the one, like the catalyst for me, leaving that abusive situation, I went home one day, and I don't remember the circumstances of it, but I know that my son wasn't there. But I went home and I walked in the door, and I could tell that my husband at the time, who was my first husband, he's no longer my husband, but he was my first husband at the time, was mad. And I sat down in the living room, and I sat in the recliner, I guess, kind of chair, because all of our couches kind of reclined, and he was on the couch, and he was mad about something. And I don't know, I said something, and he jumped up and he grabbed me, and I fell into a glass table. And when I fell into that glass table, he then picked me up and drug me by my hair across another chair, which kind of like my leg was in the middle of the chair where the I don't know if you know how recliners, how the footrest comes up, and there's a metal piece on the side, and it scraped the cross of it, and it scraped all of the skin from like my whole shin all the way down, right? So it was just an open wound. And then he grabbed me by my hair and drug me around the living room, and then picked me up, and he choked me, held me against the door. And I get a little emotional talking about it a bit, but
take your time.
He also when he choked me and held me against the door, I don't know if anybody knows what it's like to have someone like spit in their face, but I didn't realize that spitting in your face was just like, I thought it was like a little spray of spit. But no, this person coughed up phlegm and like hawked it up and spit into my face. And I just remember, like, I had this blood going down my leg. I had this open carpet wound on my back that was probably about this big. And I just remember thinking, like, I can smell his breath in this spit. Like, this is horrible. And I kept thinking about the little girl who had, they spit in her sandwich. Do you remember when they talked about, it was part of the civil rights? I think it was the first little Black girl who had integrated a school.
Was she like at a counter or something?
No, she had integrated at a school, and I can't remember the exact terms of the story. I just remember that
there's a famous photo of the police officers having to walk her to school. That
right,
girl?
that's the one, right? And they spit in her sandwich, right? And I remember thinking that, and that Ruby Bridges, yes. And I knew then, I was like, it just hit me then. I was like, I know what that's like. Like, that's what that was. Like, it's disgusting, it's degrading, and it's just horrible,
She's so much classier than me, because I was thinking about New York when Pumpkin had spit. She was like, ugh, and her breath stank. Y'all remember that?
Yes,
that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about Flavor of Love. You're very classy and sophisticated, and I'm not.
Well, it's just crazy because in that moment, like at that point, I don't think Flavor of Love had happened yet, right? Because it was a long time ago. So at that point, that was the only like thing that I had with spitting, And so when that happened, that was the
one. I just heard about this.
I'm sorry?
No, people are like, did you beat his ass? I just heard about this. Like, this wasn't something that I was privy to.
And I'm sharing now, and it's hard for me to talk about it a little bit, but initially I didn't tell everybody. And you were very young at the time, right? And a lot of things, because this was my son.
As an adult though either. I did not know about any of that. Probably not until this year.
Yeah, and then the details of it I didn't really go into. Like, I mean, there's so many other things that happened, but that was like the one part that was the catalyst for me. Like, okay, this is enough. I'm done. I'm just done. Because people always say, you can just leave, but you can't just leave sometimes. At that point, he held me in the house. I couldn't leave. He stood at the door and kind of, wouldn't let me out of the house. And at some point, he moved out of the way and I was able to run out. I don't think I even had shoes on, right? And I ran out of the house and I think I ran to a neighbor. And they called the police, right? The police ended up coming. But of course, and I hate to say it, because it makes me feel like I may have been weak in that moment, but I was like, just give me my keys so I can go. I was like, I don't want anything else. Like, don't arrest him. Don't do any of this. I'm going to have the report. I took the police report, but I was like, I just want to go. I just want to be away from this, So I get it when people don't want to file charges because of, certain, I mean, not that I understand it because they should. You absolutely should. You should prosecute to the full extent of the law. But for me in that moment, that wasn't what I was thinking of. What I was
You
thinking
brought
of,
in your son.
right. This is my son's father, and I wouldn't want, anything to happen to him. And, I wouldn't want to ruin that relationship. And, of course, he's a Black man, right? And these are the police. And, just it's so many things that run through your head when you have those issues,
But God has punished him because now he looks like Sherman Hensley.
Yeah,
He doesn't have any hair in the crown of his head. God has punished him. So now he looks outwardly how he is inwardly.
And I mean, it just and that after that point, I was able to leave. I slept in my car a couple of nights. It was a pretty bad situation for me. I mean, I had friends and I had family, but a lot of times you don't want to go to them. Like, I didn't feel like I wanted to involve my family. We tried. I went to counseling with him, thinking that I could probably work something out. But I think one of the things that made me say this is over and I can't do this at all, was my son and I were on our way to the store doing something, and he was in the back seat and he was like, "Hey, mom or mommy, can we stop someplace?" Because he must have been like 3, maybe, right? And when he asked me to take him there, I told him, "Oh no, sweetie, we can't go." And he was like, "Oh, we're gonna go, or I'm gonna hit you just like daddy does." And I pulled over, and I stopped the car and I said, "Sweetie, your daddy was wrong." And I had to really think about what to say to him because, you don't want to say your dad is crazy, your dad's a maniac. Like, you don't want to say these things, but I had to let him know, like, this is absolutely wrong and you don't hit women, because I didn't want that cycle to continue. I knew 2 things at that point. I knew I had to leave, and I knew I had to make sure that my son didn't continue with that cycle of thinking that abusing women was okay,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know any of this. I just thought my nephew was mean. I literally just thought my nephew was mean, y'all. I had no point of reference to this. I was, much younger. And so I remember being with my sister and her husband. And I remember one day we drove to go maybe to my grandmother's house or something like that. And I rode with them because that was the cool people. And I slept on my nephew's car seat. And when I woke up, he had cut up all my face. He had cut up all my face. But no, in all seriousness, no, I didn't know that she went through this. And like a lot of people, a lot of people do feel ashamed. And like you said earlier, Cassie's experience, Cassie's coming out with this, hopefully saves another life. What I will say that pissed me off, and part of the reason why I was really glad to do this on your channel, is because it's a more intimate setting. If you go ahead and hit share, or
where do I go?
Is it share?
I don't know. Invite, present, leave
Invite.
studio.
So
Invite.
you click invite, then it'll have the link. Then you just put the link in the chat and people can come up.
Okay.
So one thing that I was thinking about, guys, and it can be really hard when you have a lot of different opinions and you're trying to kind of mediate between people. But one thing I thought about was Cassie is known, but she's not well liked. Cassie was vilified in a way that Tina Turner wasn't. Because if you compare Ike's situation, Ike was the star. Ike was the one in control of all the money. Even if Tina was bringing in the money, Ike was the one that was controlling everything. And she stayed. And nobody questioned, oh, did she stay because she just wanted a career? Did she stay for the lifestyle? That man was beating on her, hitting her, cheating her, taking advantage of her sexually. You know what I mean when I say people don't like Cassie. She's not like a beloved icon, right? So
I think people don't really know Cassie, right? Like we see her, but she's kind of mysterious in a way, like you don't hear a lot from her. She seems to kind of be in the background a little bit. I don't think people really know her or, know her personality. Like I can't say that, the few times I've heard her voice, right? Like it's not a lot.
Well, I mean, yeah, I just saw a video where he had her wrapped up in a blanket and was on Snapchat, like making fun of her. Get up so we can go for a run. She probably was made to feel small. She signed a 10 song or 10 CD or whatever contract. People don't sign 10 album deals, but what I was saying is Tina Turner went through something very similar at the hands of the person she was supposed to be with. And now with Cassie's situation, I do hear a lot of people who are just saying she's a gold digger or, she knew what she was getting into when she was taking those pills. And I'm like, I do feel like that is somewhat victim blaming because, okay, a sex trafficker kidnaps you. First thing they do is they get you high out of your head. Then they start forcing you to have sex with men. So you're accustomed to that and you just don't feel like your body is yours. So if somebody is handing you in a position of power a drug that you've never taken before, but you're already intimidated by that person. Yes, Tina was the star. But Ike was in control of the money. And Ike was the star initially. He brought Tina into the lifestyle. Tina had talent and charisma and everything else, and she became a superstar. But technically, Ike was the star when they first got together. So that was the correlation I was making. Is there anybody in the background? Do you see anybody yet?
Yeah, I see people.
Okay, so this is your channel. You have a couple of options. You can choose to bring one person up at a time, or you can bring everybody up at a time. It's really whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Okay. I mean, I think there's only 3 people that are out here, so I think I can bring them all up. So I can just add to stage.
What's up, Negla? Rock? Eartha Holmes? Are you related to Kit?
Eartha and Rock.
Eartha Holmes, are you related to Kit?
No, I'm not. I was named after my grandmother.
Oh, okay. I love that name. Was she a Eartha Kit fan?
Yeah, she was. Thank you.
Okay, so it's your show, Lainey.
Oh. Right.
Sorry.
And hi, is it Mika? Yes. So I think I'm gonna take the mic off, or do you guys take their mics off, or do they take their mics off?
You can. There's a little button. I think Negla was first, right?
Yeah, I think Negla was first. Yes.
Negla, did you mute yourself or did?
I muted myself.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Hi.
No, it's your go, Negla.
Okay, great. Hi, and we had this discussion a few weeks back with the Keke Palmer situation, and I shared a bit of my situation. Well, first of all, hi, Mim sister. I love your brother. I don't know what y'all did to him growing up. They crazy, but I love him.
Thank you. I kind of like him too.
He's grown on you, right? But I did share a bit of my situation. I was involved in a severely mentally, physically, emotionally, just everything domestic violence situation for a year. Thank God it was before I had children. But one of the things that, Mims, you did touch on in today's earlier broadcast that I put in the chat, but it really, really stuck with me was the fact that she's saying that he's the one that brought out the addiction in her. Now, no one makes you addicted. It's something that, that a lot of people struggle with and things like that. However, to escape the abuse, I drank. And so if you have an abuser that's encouraging you to use a substance to, to alter your mind or alter your state or whatever, sometimes it's like, well, let me go ahead and get high now because I know, he's just going to start beating on me and I'm not going to feel that pain, that numbs that pain. So, I really don't know that much about Cassie or anything like that, but I just wanted to just quickly say that is how a lot of people fall into that, into that cycle. You're doing that to escape the pain that you're facing from that abuser. You already know he's going to beat you. So let me just beat him to the punch. And then that way I don't have to feel it.
Yeah. That makes sense. And thank you so much for sharing your story.
Oh, you didn't have to mute Negla.
I'm sorry. I'm nervous. But no, but it's been 22 years and no 23 years and it's still difficult to talk about. I mean, there was one time I drove from one side of town to the other side of town. I am severely nearsighted. I didn't have my glasses because he broke them. And I went to my mother's house. He followed me to my mother's house and called the police because I had a traffic warrant. The police arrested me when I had a black eye and a busted lip. So, you know what I mean? Things like that, they make women scared. And it's not that you don't want to leave, it's that you feel like, well, if I leave, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I never judge people who don't leave. You're not going to leave until you're ready and able to leave. It's just not going to happen until God says it's time, until you're ready to leave.
That's a very similar story to Kiki's. I remember now. Because Kiki is also nearsighted and he broke her glasses and she had to drive home. And you're definitely not alone in that, Negla. A lot of people cope with alcohol and or drugs for whatever type of abuse or trauma that they might have been through because it just kind of numbs it. I was talking earlier today, and as I was thinking about it, I was like, we never heard anything about condoms. So you're with male prostitutes. You're being forced to be with male prostitutes, and nobody is wearing condoms, presumably.
Well, can I just add, in addition to that, the other thing is that when you are in that altered state and then you try to explain what happened or you try to remember what happened, oh, you was drunk. So you don't even know what happened. That's the response that you get when you do try to tell someone and then nobody believes you because it's like, oh, I saw you was on Thunderbird. Well, yeah, but I still know what happened. But they don't believe you because they only see the one side of it. You see what I'm saying? That's why I put the comment that perhaps he was doing that to discredit her, keeping her drugged to discredit her.
That's a possibility too. I mean, I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a really good point.
Oh, she's a drug addict. She doesn't know. Something like that.
Right.
Exactly. Or she I had explained how he had thrown a plate at my head and I had a hole in my head and then I was trying to go downstairs so I could get ice and he pushed me down the stairs and then he took me to the hospital and then they said, "Oh, don't you smell the Thunderbird on her breath?" And and then they were like, "Oh, she was drunk. She just fell down the stairs drunk." But I couldn't explain what happened because the doctors also wouldn't make him leave the room. I was trying to eye to the nurse, like, please get him out of the room so I can explain to you, but they wouldn't let him leave the room. He wouldn't leave.
Wow. That is horrible.
And I smelled like Thunderbird. Yeah.
Thunderbird is like a beer.
Oh, Thunderbird is
You don't
one
know
of the
about
most.
Thunderbird, huh?
I
Yeah,
don't.
I been to a corner store myth.
No, I haven't. I don't know Thunderbird. That's like a
Not to change
beer.
the subject, but the very first time I ever drank in college, somebody brought a bottle of Thunderbird to my room, and we got so drunk, and I cannot smell Thunderbird to this day. I'll get sick.
That's like $1.99.
Yeah, it's the
Like
worst.
wine. The winos you see, bless their hearts, that's what they can afford, and they get it, and gives you
Oh no, my college was not MD 2020. It was
similar.
Wild turkey.
brandy. No, it was
VSOP.
yeah, but we couldn't always afford VSOP, so we used to just get the regular bottle of brandy. Now, once we all had jobs, we could pay the extra $4 and get the VSOP and think we were doing something. But it was always whatever E&J. It was E&J brandy
Okay.
and ocean water slushes from Sonic.
Oh, y'all got fancy with it.
Yeah. I don't know how fancy, but it was. So Negla, if you want to stay up, you definitely can. Lainey, if I would your photo. Oh fuck, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna come down, but I do thank you guys for this platform and this forum. I definitely have shared this with my network because this is something we don't talk about enough, especially in the African American community. Not that it doesn't happen in other communities, but it's just something important that we need to bring more focus and attention to, because people don't come forward because they're not believed. God bless you guys.
I appreciate you, Negla. I really do. And keep telling your story too, because it impacts people, it affects people. You can always move your thing to the middle if you want. So if you just hold on to your photo, you can move it and place it where you want.
Look at me.
Go up. Go up with it.
I did.
No, you went down. I'm up. I'm on the top. You should be at the top.
Yeah, I tried it, but it is not doing it for me.
So play with it and you can move it. But who was next?
I think I want to say it was Rock and then Eartha and Joanna, or was it Joanna and then Rock? We'll go, I think it might have been Rock.
Okay, that's fine. How you guys doing this evening?
Hey,
Hi, Rock.
It's been an emotional day, Rock.
Yeah, I've been triggered too, so I definitely understand. So my input is obviously just like probably everybody that's coming up. I've been in domestic situations as well. The biggest issue that I've had with the Cassie situation is just it seems like everyone is centering on the fact that she was 19, she knew what she was getting herself into. In my situation, I came from an abusive household growing up. I had a single mom, but she was a narcissistic mother. So she was controlling, demanding, and she was abusive. And so when I left her house at 18, it was into the home of another person who my boyfriend at the time, who was also the same way. So it was like I was leaving one abuser and going to the next, or leaving one master and going to the next, because I always was like a passive personality. And so, our relationship obviously didn't start off domestic at all. He wasn't abusing me at first. I got pregnant relatively quickly because I was living with my boyfriend. So, I had twins at 18, got pregnant again at 19, and had a little boy. And that's kind of when the abuse kind of kicked into full gear. At the same time, I was realizing that I wasn't in love with this person anymore. So I was starting to separate myself. Like I started working more. I got my own place. I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house I was renting. And I think that he started to get jealous of me. And he started to, ramp up the abuse, but it started to not faze me. I started developing friends outside of him. I really didn't have family and I didn't really have friends, but I started making friends at work. And I think that started to irritate him more and more. And I would always tell people, they're like, why are you staying? Because he's obviously putting his hands on you. And I would always say, well, we have kids now and I grew up with a single mom. And so I'm going to stay because I want my kids to have an intact family. He doesn't do anything to the kids.
Can I jump in really quickly? You were doing all this with 3 children under the age of 3, got your own place. Of course, he was intimidated because you didn't need him. He felt in charge, and he felt powerful at the fact that you needed him. Once you were self-sufficient, the nastiness came out.
Yeah. And
Horrible.
unfortunately, with my age and me not being confident in myself, because I wasn't confident in myself at that time. Like, you can't tell me anything about myself now, but back then, like, I just didn't have that. So I didn't see it. I didn't see that, I was doing fine by myself. And so the thing that I thought he wouldn't be able to do, I've never thought that he would hurt our kids to get to me. But he ended up killing my 4-month-old son.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Rock.
And I had went to work one day. He was watching the baby. It was right after we moved into the house. Like, literally, we moved into the house February 14th. I think he felt away because his name wasn't on the lease. February 23rd is the day he killed my son. I came home. He left his body in the bed, covered him up. I'm the one who discovered him. He had been there for hours, deceased. It was just it. I don't have the words for what it was, but it was obviously the most heartbreaking time of my life. It did force me obviously away from this person permanently. I ran to go away to college. I went away to school. I tried to, focus on school and my kids that I had left, and I pushed everything in the back of my mind to be able to keep going, and so I never really dealt with the trauma. So when I did finish school and I came back to Chicago, I ended up in a relationship with another person, and I thought all of that stuff was healed. And so I got in this relationship with them. We had a kid. We got married, and then they started abusing me. And it took me years. Like, as I understand that she was in the relationship for 13 years. I was with my husband for 12. It took me years, so much abuse, like, being in the hospital, being hospitalized. He fractured my face. Getting our kids taken away for a little bit of time because CPS found out that I was being abused in the relationship. And so they came and took our kids and we had to get them back. Even me running, like, it was just one day I decided I'm just leaving, and I packed up my kids, packed up the house. He was gone. Had my dad come, and my dad, he hasn't really been in my life, so he offered to do this, but I had him with the U-Haul truck come get all my stuff, and I moved to Texas. I lived in Chicago. I moved to Texas without telling him anything. But because it wasn't healed in me, I still let him come down and come around even to Texas. And so it literally took me until July of this year to finally get in my mind and understand that I was better than that I was putting myself, that I was injuring myself over and over again for this idea. Now it's the idea of marriage. Before it was the idea of family. But it's the want and the need of wanting something that's solid. And so I understand that they have a makeshift family. Like when it was Diddy and the kids and even the other baby moms or whatever, that's still a family. And it seems like a lot of the abuse of drugs and the control factor and the obviously the abuse, but there's also things that are keeping you there. And you develop relationships with the family, you develop relationships with his mom, you develop a relationship with him and a side of him that no one else sees. And so it makes it easy to stay and just be complacent with what you're dealing with and just think like, hey, everybody deals with something. But eventually you just get tired and you have to make a decision on the other side of knowing. And I think that that's the biggest thing for domestic violence survivors is what's on the other side of what you already know. Because people always say, well, do you want to deal with the demon that you know or the demon that you don't? And so you know this person, you know what makes them tick, so you know how to protect yourself. And in your mind, why would I want to start to learn someone else new to have to experience how they tick and learn that before I'm at least protecting myself a little bit. So I get it. Um, there's nothing like peace. You can be going through something like right now, for example, my soon-to-be ex-husband, because I did file for the divorce, but it's not final yet. But my soon-to-be ex-husband, once I made the decision to totally cut off everything, he stopped helping take care of the kids. And then he started harassing me at work, having people show up at my house, and I ended up losing my job. I'm literally going to court on Monday because I'm getting evicted. But I have peace, even though I don't know what the hell we're going to do as far as me and my kids are concerned and where we're going to move to, and being concerned with being able to move and conceal my address so I'm not harassed. I have way more peace now that I've cut that off. And I understand it took her some time because she had to find that peace and dealing with drug addiction and all of those things, but she had to find that peace. And so if there's anybody else that's here on the call or just, on the panel today they're still stuck in those situations and you don't know what it looks like, it can look like shit on the other side. It really can, because honestly, that's what it looks like for me. Like, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't have a job right now. I don't know where I'm going to move my kids. But I know that the confusion around that is so much more clearer than not knowing when the next moment he was going to tick and literally maybe kill me.
Absolutely, Rock. That your story is incredible, and I think that you are a strong, courageous woman, even
Thank
for
you.
sharing this now with us today. It breaks my heart. Actually, it really breaks my heart.
I second everything that she said. The loss of a child for any parent is the worst loss that a person can experience. DM me, Rock, at Make It Make Sense now, and we'll talk offline.
Okay.
Lane, there is breaking news, so we're gonna do something different. You guys bear with me. You're gonna go to your YouTube studio, and go to content.
Hold on, I have to go to the other computer.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn away for a second, okay?
Okay. But you can still hear me and everything, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. So the breaking news is, I called it. Diddy was gonna settle before Cassie started talking about his gayness.
Stop it.
So, Rock really touched me. I'm sorry. I did not expect it. I'd never heard Lane's full in-depth story, and then Rock's. It definitely, and Negla's as well. It's definitely something that is. It was unexpected. This is like touched me in a way that I did not expect at all. But what we're gonna do is change the title of your video.
Okay, so let me go into YouTube Studio. I'm there.
YouTube Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Then content.
Got it.
And then you're gonna find your video. Click on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the new title is Diddy settles lawsuit with Cassie. Eartha, Joanne, Mika, and Rework, we're definitely going to get to your stories. I'm just going to read this update really quickly and share this video, Lane's video. Thank you for the person who put it in the chat. I knew this jackass was going to try to settle before she really told his real business. She just gave us like probably the tip of the iceberg and really detailed the abuse. But there's probably so many other things that he has done to her, said, she's seen, that he doesn't want out. So you did change the name?
I did, yes.
Okay, so I'll just briefly read this. It says, Cassie settles lawsuit accusing Sean Combs of the R word and abuse. The R&B singer Cassandra Ventura and the music mogul did not disclose terms of the settlement, of course, which came one day after Miss Ventura filed an explosive complaint. Sean Combs and the singer Cassie have reached a settlement just one day after she filed an explosive lawsuit accusing the hip-hop mogul of the R word and numerous instances of physical abuse. The parties announced on Friday evening that they had reached an agreement to resolve the case, though they disclosed no details about the terms of the settlement. In quotes, "I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control." Cassie, whose full name is Cassandra Ventura, said in a statement, "I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support." In a statement, Mr. Combs said, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably because I did not want her talking about my butt play. I wish Cassie and her family all the best." I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love. He's sticking with that name. For Mr. Combs, the settlement quickly shuts down what could have been a risky and potentially embarrassing process of legal discovery, in which reams of evidence are made public and a possible trial. And Ms. Ventura, who has already aired her accusations through a public complaint, avoids a cross-examination by Mr. Combs' attorneys. In the lawsuit that drew international attention, Ms. Ventura, who signed to Mr. Combs' label in 2005 when she was 19 and dated for about a decade, accused Mr. Combs of what she said was years of beatings, controlling behavior, and various forms of sexual abuse, including the R word. So that is your update. I am in no way surprised. I definitely called this a couple days ago when this came out. There was no way he was going to take this to trial. No way at all. But if he had, I would have been right in the front seat like this.
I would have hoped. I was waiting for more to come out. I was really ready for more to come out.
No, she did accept it.
Am I still putting chats up? Or am I able to do that while people are on the screen?
Are you still doing what?
Putting people's chats up, like show the chat?
You can. And I believe, and Eartha was next, right? Then
yes, Eartha was next. Hi, Eartha. Thank you for joining. Eartha left us.
No, she's on mute. Maybe she stepped away.
Hello?
Okay. Hey,
Eartha, did we take too long to get to you? I'm sorry.
No, you didn't take too long to me. I'm actually at work. And
Oh,
I
okay.
just hit my button to hang up on a person so I can talk to you guys. But you'll be all right. So I had ready so long to actually talk to Mem. And hi, Mem, sister. I don't know your name, so I'm sorry. But I believe everything Cassie said. And I know y'all were just breaking the news. I wish she would have told everything, not settled, but I guess she has to do what's best for her. But I also have been in a domestic violence relationship. So it really aggravates me when people's like, "Oh, why you don't leave and why she didn't leave and stuff like that." It's not always easy to leave. I was in a relationship for almost 18 years on and off, and been in mental hospital. Try to kill myself. I went through a lot, and we have a daughter together. I think the final straw was last year because he kidnapped my daughter when I was out trying to make money doing Lyft, and I had to go take her back on some special victim use. I had to go. It was crazy. Lifetime movie shit. It was crazy. Sorry for cursing. But I ended up getting her back. The next day I put a restraining order against him. And, I have a peace of mind because I'm not with him. But it's like hard because he punished me with my daughter. And like financially I struggle because he won't help me because I won't be with him. And, I get punished that way. And, saying negative things about me to my daughter. So, but I made the best decision for myself. Sorry.
No, take your time.
Sorry.
Because I have a son too, and I look at my kids every day, and I don't want my daughter to think when you grow up it's okay for a man to hit you, and I don't want my son to think that when he grows up it's okay for you to hit a woman, because it's not. And it's just a lot of trauma I've been through, being bullied, and I didn't love myself. So when I seen him and I felt like he loved me, it was like it's a high that I can't explain. So I stayed, and I know I should have, but I loved him so much that I couldn't think. It's like he was my whole world. And so I know it's not always easy to leave, and I'm glad I did. But sometimes it just it's hard, especially when you have children and they look up to you, and you still have to have contact with them, and they're trying to destroy you even though you left. And I made myself a YouTube page, stuff like that, to open up and stuff like that, and put myself out there. But it's just I don't. It's my confidence. I don't feel confident in myself, so I get scared, and I don't want that fear to be in my kids. So I just need a moment, please. I'm sorry. Can someone else talk?
Okay, don't be sorry. Take a moment.
I can't even imagine what you're going through. But the woman I hear is a very brave woman who decided to not let her abuser dictate who and what she is and how she's going to, mother her children and show them what's right. So I hear just a very brave woman.
And an
Um,
amazing mother who thinks of her children first, and that's what happens in those situations. You want to think of your children first, and you care about them, and you want to do what's best for them, regardless of what you're going through. And I think, in these situations, it's worth being said that the best thing is to leave. And I'm really happy to hear not the stories, but the fact that, the people that have spoken have been strong enough to leave these situations, and it will get better. It will get better.
Yes, and I'm glad I left. Like I said, days it gets hard, but when I look at my daughter and son, I know I made the right decision. And then my daughter tells me all the time, you should have, she's glad I left. She loves her dad. That's that's her joy. And I don't, try to badmouth him, nothing like that in front of her. He does it to me. I want her to have her own opinion about her dad and, love him no matter what, because without him, we wouldn't, she wouldn't be here. But I don't regret leaving. I just regret I took so long to leave. But it's a time period. My mom always tells me, no one can tell you when you had enough. You got to know for yourself. So it took me a long time to realize that I'm okay by myself and that I'm going to find someone who's going to love me. And I had to realize that it's okay to be by myself. And listening to Ronnie the Voice earlier and just, listening to you everyday memes and everything like that, I'm definitely going to, go back and to do my YouTube channel and try to do the things that make me happy. And it's going to, elevate me and put myself out there because, it's scary to put yourself out there, especially when, you don't know if people are going to reject you. And, rejection is a painful thing. But I'm definitely going to do and show my kids that, their mother's strong and she's going to be able to, take care of them. Everything's going to be okay. But I just wanted to let someone else talk. And Mims, I love you. Mims, sis, I'm following you now. And I
Thank
hope
you.
you both have a great night. And I love you both.
don't. What type of channel are you gonna do?
It was when I first started, it was about, this random TV shows I watch and stuff like that, basically about what you do and stuff like that. But then I'm also going to talk about, domestic violence situations I've been through. I want women to come up and talk about what they've been through and just have an open panel about it's just about everything. That stuff I see on a blog, just a little bit about everything. It's not nothing that's just pinpoint. So that's it.
Before you go, let me just say this much. Again, Lane has never said this, especially not in a public forum. And much like yourself, just sharing your story, the hardest part is over. You have gotten in a public forum and shared something that was extremely deep and personal. That was the hard part.
Yeah,
You're
and I
well
made
on your
2 videos already. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I made 2 videos. I think I made one about the basketball wives, and I
way.
started it, and then the show was just too boring for me, and I hate Evelyn, so I couldn't finish with it. But I think I'm gonna do Real Housewives of Thomas, and like I said, I think I'm gonna make a video about Diddy, even though this hopefully he does go to jail because he's sick. But I think I'm gonna make a video about that and stuff. Like just really start adding stuff to my YouTube, like I said, because I started it and then I was like, oh my God, people are gonna see my face, and I was trying to think how to ways, to hide and stuff like that because my self esteem is low, and that's another reason I did it too. So I, just build myself up, put myself out there, talk to people who are like me. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Eartha, that's why I started my channel. If you are newer to my channel or you weren't around from the very beginning, that's why I started my channel. They were making me go on camera to interview for a job, and I didn't like the way I present on camera. And Shan and Van had like, I think maybe 400 or 500 subscribers, and was like, no, you're going to come on my channel. You're going to show your face and you're going to, build yourself up. And that's just what happened. So I wish you the best of luck. Definitely do not be a stranger. And if you send me a link to your channel via, DM, I'll definitely subscribe.
All right. Thank you.
Too. And guess what? I felt the same way. I think I've been in the mirror. I don't know how long today. Like, oh my gosh, am I going to do this? Do I want to look? I don't, it's like, it's scary, like getting up here for the first time and kind of doing that. And you're putting yourself out there, because I don't know, you don't know how people are going to receive you, but like I said, it's been a lot of love from Mims' people that have come over here for me. And I'm sure they're going to show you some love too.
No, Eartha, don't be hanging up on nobody else. Have a good night, Eartha.
Good night as well, Mims, and your sister. And where did you say go to the back? Where do I supposed to go send you my information?
You can put it on Make It Make Sense now on Instagram. You could just DM me.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good one.
Good night. Okay, I think Joanna is next.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Hi, yes. How are you?
I'm inspired.
Good.
I think part of the reason that we don't know to start with the whole Cassie Diddy situation, I think part of the reason we don't know her is because that was part of his abuse. I think had he not been there, we would know her personality more. We would know a lot more about her. But I feel like she's probably a sweet, soft-spoken person in general, and she kind of turns it up when she performs and does her music. But if we had gotten to see that different side of her, it would be easier for us to believe her if she first had something to say. Which is also, I think, a part of why he plied her with drugs and alcohol and stuff, because y'all don't even know her for real. What do y'all know about her aside from that she looks pretty in pictures and that's it?
I think they said she had a 10-album deal. Is that what part of the lawsuit said? And somebody who had a 10 album, I could not name an album.
I just remember the first single.
Right. That's all I remember. Like, he didn't put her out there and promote her I don't think it was ever his intention for her to be a star.
Right.
Or his actual girlfriend.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when you read through everything, Mims, like, I was literally sitting in my bed with my snacks.
Popcorn
looking at it. You said what?
Popcorn or fruit snack?
I like a little bit of salty and sweet. So I had some popcorn and some cookies.
Okay.
But
I'm like myself, but
like reading through it as you were verbalizing it, it's like, oh my God. And the fact that there were so many people around that knew exactly what was going on and completely enabled him. The hotel that took that $50,000 from him to give him that surveillance video of him beating her in that hallway. Like, there's so much. And it also is a testament to how you never know what's really going on behind closed doors with anybody and in anybody's relationship. She was a designer all the time. She was in all these different countries and all these exotic places, taking all these beautiful pictures when she wasn't hiding her face from what he did to her. And you would think it would be great to be Diddy's girlfriend. Look at everything she's doing. She ain't even got to work, not knowing everything that's going on. I feel for Carisha because I don't think that she has the emotional maturity or intellect yet to catch on to the little stuff that he's probably already done if he hasn't started the big stuff yet. in order to understand that this is the road that all of this is leading to. Sis, Carisha, if you watching this video, run, girl, get out. Molly, you in danger, girl. Because he has been this person, and he's going to keep being this person until someone stops him. The fact that he blew up Kid Cudi's car, like, it's not even like it was just some random blowjo off the street that nobody knows. He blew up Kid Cudi's car, and it was just like, somebody's car blew up over there. I guess it'll be okay.
Joanna, let me ask you this, just to challenge what you said just a little bit. You saw the tweets that Carisha was putting out about Virginia, the other girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she basically said, I can make you eat my cat, or I'll have Diddy make you eat my cat, or whatever. Do you think that Carisha is already in it, at least for the sexual part? Because
I think that the mental part, he's been grooming her the whole time with the way that she will hop on social media and complain and talk about how she's having a bad day or she don't want to deal with anybody, blah, blah, blah. And we'll figure it's about him. And then a couple of weeks later, she'll post a lavish gift, or she'll be on a trip or be on a boat with him. And it's like, yeah, I was just kidding. It's like, no, girl. That's a pattern. The abuse comes, the makeup comes. The abuse comes, the makeup comes. And I mean, with Carisha, she has been the kind of pick-me-ish, well, he ain't never do that to me. Ma'am, you're not that special. It's coming.
Agreed. He has shown you his colors, and you know exactly what's coming. She knows. She knows at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, it back to her telling the girl that if she wanted her to do that to her, he would make her do it. Why is it that you think that women that he was with Cassie for over a decade. He was with Kim for the longest and had children with her. What makes you think that this man with all this money and all this power and all this influence and all this access is never going to do these things to you or put you in this type of situation just because you haven't been in it yet? Do you think it's because you're famous? It doesn't matter. You're not more famous than him. You think it's because you got a little money? You don't have more money than him. So that power dynamic has been off, and I think that he absolutely preys on people. She's not as young as Cassie was, but mentally,
he was either
at all. Mentally, I feel like he knew that he could get her. Predators pick their prey, especially somebody that's been doing it as long as he has. But aside from them, the kind of common string that I've noticed in her coming out with that so publicly and everybody sharing their situations tonight is strength. It's a lot to overcome being in a situation like that. And a lot of people who haven't been in it have no clue what it is. The toll that it takes on you in every aspect of your life. I am someone who survived SA as a child, as a teenager, and as an adult. Multiple abusive relationships, physically, mentally, emotionally. There was a situation, because I'm an elected official where I live, there was a situation in which I was beaten and had to go to a city council meeting that same day. Thankfully, the panini was kind of in full force, So I was able to throw on a pair of shades and put on a mask, and nobody really thought anything to cover it up. But it's difficult, and they put you in the frame of mind spiritually. I figured out at this point, once you accept something and put up with something, it becomes a part of your psyche, and you begin to think that you deserve it. So you don't fight as much, especially when you're physically overwhelmed by them. Where I live, the first time I went to the police, and I didn't even call. We were outside. He came up to my car, kicked my car, choked me, hit me. Somebody else down the street called the police when they heard the commotion. The police came, he left. I filed charges. He went to court for something unrelated the next day. Nothing happened. A similar situation happened. I called the police. They came, saw the bruising. I had busted blood vessels in my eye. In that instance, he had also SA'd me with my own pow pow that I had bought for self-defense. He got to it before I did and did that. Told them everything, documented everything. Yeah, we won't let this stand in our city. I'm so sorry this happened to you. We're going to get this together. They did nothing.
So you weren't even
So
protected official
at all. Nothing. Later, I found out that our chief of police was his first cousin's uncle. So that probably has something to do with it. He's no longer our chief of police, thankfully, but there are so many different things that happen to you mentally when you're in these situations that people don't understand. And the judgment needs to stop because nobody can tell anybody else how to heal. No one can tell you when you've had enough. The first sign should be enough, but it's usually not, which is why now, for me, like first red flag, I'm out. I'm a Virgo and I overanalyze everything anyway. But now that I'm more healed, more settled into myself, one of the things that I realized was that the love that I kept trying to get from other people by giving them everything of myself was the love that I should have been giving to myself in the first place.
Well, it's good that you've come to that. I mean, some people never come to that. The fact that you know now that you're deserving, and that's the first step.
Yeah, and it has been a journey. Like when people talk about, yeah, I'm on my healing journey, and they super delighted, I'm like, girl, you haven't hit it yet. You haven't hit it yet. Healing is not this cute little pretty nice fun process. You learn a lot, and you're very grateful for the time that you spent working on yourself. Because if you don't do that, you're just going to keep finding yourself in the same situations over and over and over and over. And that's another thing I had to figure out. I had to sit down and sit with myself and look at myself honestly and figure out why I was running into the same person in a different body. And it's not that there was anything wrong with me per se. I just needed to figure out some things, and I needed to learn, like I said, to give myself the love that I was trying to give everybody else, to make them love me. And I had to figure out why I needed their approval and their love so bad, which stemmed from childhood trauma. So it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. There's a lot of pain that you have to uncover and allow yourself to feel before you can heal it. But on the
Um,
other side, it's so glorious.
Lane can tell you this is the exact same conversation that I just had with her about my own therapy. So everything you said definitely resonated. Now, Lane is going to get me in this live because it's looking like it's going to be a 2 hour live. So, for everybody, remaining, definitely we want to be able to hear your stories. But Lane has a hard stop at 2 hours. So,
I'm gonna
um,
get off my soapbox then, but I just want
yeah,
to thank
stay
you,
off, Johnny.
Mims, and you, Lane.
Thank
Um, I don't know either of you personally, obviously, but the harmony and the love and the peace that I see radiating off of both of you, and the fact that you've allowed us to come and set up this forum so that people can come in an atmosphere that's not judgmental and that's full of care. I adore both of you for that. And I thank both of you for that. And I thank everyone else that shared their stories. I feel like understanding that you're not by yourself, knowing that there have been people who have been through what you've been through, worse than what you've been through, and made it to the other side to be able to say, listen, girl, listen, sir, because it doesn't just happen to women. I have a cousin who's a male that was in a horribly abusive situation. And the stigma around, well, he bigger than her. He could have kept him for the longest from actually coming forward. So whoever it is, you can get out. You should get out. You don't deserve that. That is not love. And once you get out, do not go back. Heal and you'll be fine.
Amen to
That's
that.
it.
Thank you definitely, Joanna, for sharing it, and I'm definitely sorry you went through that as well.
Thank y'all. Y'all are amazing.
You're
Shady but fair.
amazing.
I think Mika was it Mika?
Yeah, I think Mika was
Yeah.
great.
Hey, Mika.
Hi,
Look,
Mika.
I've been over here in tears. I got to get myself together because, hearing about that unfortunate poor baby and the woman who was in that 18-year marriage, I'm literally like wiping my tears away. And I'm glad I came up here because it's changing my approach to how I talk to people who have been through abuse. Like I literally have been listening while I've been waiting. I just been listening. Like, wow, I've really been talking to people kind of harsh because unfortunately, I was the person who questioned, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you go to the cops? That was me. I've always been that person to like. There's no excuse to stay. There's no excuse. Like you need to leave. You need to get out. But hearing these, women and their experiences, I understand it's harder, you know, it's easier said than done. So I'm definitely glad I came to listen. Because and the reason why I had that my thought of why didn't you leave? Why didn't you stay? Is because from my own personal experience, um, at 14 years old, I witnessed my sister getting beat up by her child's father. I called the cops. And guess what? When I told her I called the cops, she left with him. At 19 years old, I saw my sister getting beat up badly by her child's father. I called the cops. And then she left with her abuser. So I was like, wait, like and I literally just like a couple weeks ago was I went and reread my diaries and I literally went to the pages of when I was 14 years old and and I was writing, why is she staying? Why is she letting him do this to her? And as a 14-year-old, I also said, well, she's She's only going to allow what, she's obviously allowing it, and then at 25 years old myself, in the height of it, like literally a week before the pandemic hit, I myself experienced it. And I also called the cops. And he ran away from the house. And I told the cops, it's okay, he's gone. There's like, oh, what's his name? And like a lot of you women said, we don't want to get him in trouble. So I was like, I don't know his name. I don't know what he's wearing. It's okay. But he came back that night. I called the cops again. And that time when the cops came, their hands was on their holsters. And there was more squads. And it was a dog. And I was like, oh, wait, hold on. And now I'm really not giving y'all his name. I'm really not telling y'all what he's wearing. Trying to protect him. And the next day, unlike Cassie with all the drinking and drugs and alleged stuff she was doing, I don't drink or do drugs. But he does. He drinks. He was drinking heavily. So his excuse was, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. If I did anything, I'm sorry. So a week later, the pandemic hit. So again, I was stuck. I couldn't leave. So for 10 months, when that moratorium was on, no one was renting, no one was leasing. I was stuck in that house with him. And he didn't put his hands on me again, but like once a month, he would trash the house, wake me up out my sleep, harassing me. Meanwhile, it's kids there. And when he did put his hands on me, it was kids right there also. So I knew I had to I had to wait. I couldn't leave yet, but I knew once I got out, I left for good. And ever since I got out, he's been going through financial hard. He begged me not to leave. Ever since I left, he's been going through financial hardships, and just a lot of negative things have happened. And I just never looked back because I always told myself, if it happened once, it will escalate. If you even survive the first time, because I know if it happened once, that one and first time could be the last time. But if it happened once, I do always preach to leave, because
But
both of
Mika,
my sisters
can
are.
I interject really, really quick, Mika? I
Mhm.
was listening to your story and you said you were that person who always said, why didn't you leave?
Yeah.
But even though you expressed that it was during the, moratorium and people weren't renting, you had a reason to stay. You were closer to that situation than you even realized, even though you had the fortitude to call the police each time, and a lot of people don't. You actually kind of experienced it yourself a little bit, because there's a reason. It's a kid, it's a moratorium, it's I don't want to get this man in trouble. I had this conversation with Lane a couple days ago, and it was like, sometimes it's hard to see it internally. You could be such a support system for so many other people, but it's when it comes to yourself, it's just a little bit more difficult. So, but yeah, a lot of people don't have the fortitude that you have to actually call the police, and that probably stems from seeing your two sisters go through it and knowing that you would not be the person to do it.
Right. And it's like
Yeah.
intertwining with the Cassie thing. I feel bad for Cassie because she didn't have the courage to speak up and speak out. But yet it was people that saw and witnessed it. And even they didn't speak up and speak out for her. So, sometimes, how sometimes people like are scared to be the first ones to do something. So they're like looking around, waiting for everybody else to like go ahead and lead the way. And then they feel comfortable speaking out. It's like she didn't even get nobody's, all these people he paid off, and um his security team and the makeup artists and everybody that was behind the scenes, people witnessed it and nobody spoke up for her. So she probably was looking like, hey, y'all not gonna say nothing? Like, it's just a shame. And I really feel bad. I really do feel bad for Cassie. And with Diddy, although this is settled, it's too late. It's too late. It's already out there. Even though we won't get the discovery of everything in the lawsuit, but it's already out there. So I just hope that, people who do go through things, they take their time and they get out safely. And I'm really glad I'm going to go, but I'm really glad that I stayed here and just listened, because I was like, wow, I've been really harsh to people throughout the years, and I really need to, you know, watch how I talk to them now. So I'm really thankful that I really came up here. So
Me too. I'm thankful you came up, and I'm glad you shared your story because it did give a different perspective from what everyone else has been
yeah,
talking about.
it
Because
did.
the
Hearing women and their stories is like horror stories. It was so yeah, that really put something on my heart. So thank
and
y'all for all the ladies who spoke. Y'all really touched me. So thank you.
Thank you,
one of
Mika.
the things that you mentioned, Mika, that I wanted to bring up was like, when you talked about um people not understanding how you stay in a situation, and everyone's situation is so different, and their reasoning behind why they stay is so different. Some people have children and they stay in that situation. Some people are just young and they don't know any better. Some people have a situation where in like Rock's situation, where they don't know where they're going to go, or what's going to happen to them. It's always scary when you leave what's there, and even though it's not comfortable, it's like that's your comfortable space because that's where you've been and that's where you are. And someone else I think mentioned that what you don't know are is it the horror that you don't know, or the danger that you don't know. I can't think of what the phrase is, but the devil you don't know, right? The devil you know and the devil you don't know. It's the devil that you don't know that's scarier than the devil you know. And that's what I think makes it hard for a lot of people to leave too. I know for my situation too, I tried counseling. You go to the church, and I went to the church. I was Catholic. I am Catholic. Went to the church, and nobody ever said, "Oh, you should leave." They were like, "Oh, work it out. Marriage is forever. That's what you do. You stay there." So a lot of people may have that what's supposed to be their support system, not actually looking out for what's best for them, but thinking to themselves, okay, this is a marriage. We're going to try to make this work. And, you should be with your husband. You took vows. And it's just a lot of different things that kind of add to why a person may not leave. But thank you again for sharing. And I think we'll go to our next person. You know what, I think I got confused about who our next person was. I don't know if it's
I think it was Reworked, and then Sheridan, and then T Love.
You're good at this. Hi, Reworked.
Hey, how are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Good. You look beautiful. Hi, ma'ams. How are you guys?
I've never been called beautiful, but thanks.
Well, y'all look like twins to me.
It's the black.
Yeah, it really is. Y'all definitely look like siblings. But I don't want to stay long. I just wanted to say one thing and mainly respond to the comments who are like, she wanted this luxury lifestyle and wooty wooty woo wah wah wah, whatever. For me, like when I see people say things like that, it just goes to show how much that some of these celebs are put on these pedestals, and all you see is the glitz and the glamour out of them. All you see is, the accolades and all these things. So from, the audience perspective, they see all these things, these boats, this house, this, that, and this is what they like about these celebrities. They don't know them in real life. They don't know them behind closed doors and what they got going on. Nope. They see all this and it's like, this is something that I would want. And sometimes it comes off to me like a projection. Like, oh, if I was in that situation, if Diddy presented me with a gift, a Birkin, or this or that, I would want to say because of this lifestyle. What it sounded like to me from what, you read in the case is she not going to the spa. She's sitting up there for days on end, being abused in that hotel room, can't leave, got black and bruised eyes. How is that a luxury lifestyle? I'm not understanding what y'all are getting out of that. Y'all see her on the red carpet, y'all see these people with all these things, and you know, from your end, you're like, oh my God, the life is so amazing. But that's what they make you think. That's the brand, that's the marketing, that's all of that. It's not the real them. And when you keep peeling back the layers and you have all these accounts of people who have touched hands with these people, who have been around these people, they will have a different story. So when y'all in the comments and y'all, y'all so quick to be like, oh yeah, she wanted that, she this, she that. You really need to check your energy. Check where you're coming from, because y'all see these celebrities and y'all put them way up here and y'all see all this glitz and this glam and you're like, anybody would love that. Unbeknownst to you, they're coercive. So, and then another thing is like, for some of these people who have all this power and have all this access, not only to just like material things, but to a way out. She was already working on a career. You know what I'm saying? He holds the cards to be able to, bring her to a different level. And we've seen this time after time again with child stars and, people who come in and out of the industry who have a talent or just have this spirit of they just want to sing, they just want to do this. And that innocence in them is taken advantage of with, this illustrious career and their dreams coming true and blase. Like when I saw that video of him, showing Justin Bieber around his house, I'm like, this kid was on YouTube singing his heart out, and you showing him your Ferrari talking about, oh, when you get 18, I'm gonna give you this Ferrari. You don't know him from a can of paint, sweetie.
And we don't know what he was gonna have to do for that Ferrari.
Okay. Right. Oh, you could have a house when you're 21. Stop it. And then all these rumors coming behind it. So it's all this energy in the comments like, oh, why she coming out now? Oh, this and that. Girl, stop. Y'all don't know what's going on. All this luxury that y'all see, y'all don't know they getting beat black and blue and being trafficked from here or there. There are people that you don't know, not celebrities, not nobodies, being, taken from this state to that state in hotels, motels, never seen a spa, never relaxed one day. But y'all sitting in the comments saying, oh, it's the luxuries. It's not the luxuries. That's not the fruits of their labor. They sit in a big old house and can't leave nowhere, black and blue. So when y'all come out and y'all have all this energy towards people finally speaking out, and I'm not saying that there's absolutely nothing that, victims can do to, get out or, remove themselves or anything like that. I'm sure there is, but y'all don't know. Y'all don't know what people are going through, and y'all don't know what it takes for them to leave a situation or how they even got there. But y'all so quick to be on the internet and be like, because y'all idolize these people. Y'all defend the brands. Y'all over here like Gucci thugs, Diddy down, in the comments, really, 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 going to bat for him like y'all know him for real. Oh, he's such a good dad. What dad you know will be doing this? What good daddy y'all know would be doing this? Okay?
Not a good one.
Not a good one. Not a good one. So check your energy before y'all over here, in the comments saying, oh, she should have did this, she should have did that. Keke Palmer, oh, she shouldn't have had his baby. Whoopty whoop. Shut up. Stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense. Y'all don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Y'all just be over here thinking that y'all know the whole story. And then when they really do divulge, y'all tear them apart. I'm pretty sure she settled because she heard everything that y'all was saying, and it was too much for her. She already went through 12 years of, this, and this goes to the public, and she's getting torn up, and nobody really knows who Cassie is. Like y'all said before, she's mysterious. Mm-hmm. So now her image is tarnished with, oh, I'm a victim. That's embarrassing. That's humiliating. I'm sure she doesn't want to be cross-examined. And I'm sad to say that, it happened this quick. I personally wish that there was more discovery, because I think he's a criminal, and all these people who are connected to him, because it's not just him, the hotel, the employees, all these people saw, didn't say nothing, didn't do nothing, probably participated, doing the most, being hush. Everything's on the back burner. Everybody's
and some of them are probably scared. Yeah,
scared, shaking in their boots, and the powers that be holding hands, exchanging women, exchanging men, doing the powers, and all the little people at the bottom get don't get to say nothing, or are, you know, threatened or bribed, or, you know, in some way intimidated into not speaking up or not doing anything about it.
I
So
completely agree with you, but the only thing that I would challenge is kind of what Mika was saying, where she stepped in multiple times for both her sisters, and each time the sister went with the abuser. So imagine somebody who's just like a hotel employee who wants to say something, but you have rumors of him blowing up cars and, you know, unaliving people, and then he's putting his hands on Cassie, who's his girlfriend. You know, sometimes it's difficult to be the person who sees, because what do you know, if you're working at a hotel and you need your job and it's Diddy, do you put your neck out for Cassie, who then might just go back to Diddy, and who's going to believe you? I think
right,
when we're dealing with powerful people, sometimes it's really hard for people who aren't involved in the situation to speak up, because it can be dangerous for them. Their livelihood can be on the line. I think people should. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying from a human vantage point, I'm sure some of those people wanted to say something, but were very scared of Diddy. And
I'm thinking more of like the people. Y'all said in the case that somebody took $50,000, some hotel,
the
to
hotel
exchange that
Right.
security video.
and
They
the
could have reported that to the police. They could have sent that video to the police despite what she said. But no, and then they're going to intimidate their employees probably after they have done something like this. And you know, I was talking about this yesterday when I saw the case. I was like, I wonder, you know, just thinking like when you were going over it, I wonder if there was anybody who was in the hotel staff who had spoken up, you know, like they had talking about the security or whatever, who had left their job or lost their job after they took that $500,000. That's what I was looking to see in the case discovery. Who made this deal to hand him over the security, and who left afterwards?
Right.
Diddy has
What
enough
em-
power. He could make all kinds of deals in the background. Like, oh, okay, you go ahead. I'm gonna pay up for whatever I broke because
Mhm,
they were throwing glass. I'm gonna give you
mhm.
$50,000, and now everybody from Bad Boy is gonna stay at this brand hotel. Or
Right.
anytime I'm throwing a party, I'm gonna make sure to use your ballroom. Or you know what I mean? Like that's
Yep.
the kind of underhanded, good old boy things that kind of have run the world up until, you know, the Me Too movement and the
Mhm.
internet really stopped. The internet is undefeated.
And how
And we
many
really
more
see it's like in
NDAs?
Hollywood. It's the norm, you know? It
Right.
feels like it's the norm.
Right. Well, yeah, that's basically all I was wanted to say is like, you know, I see a lot of, you know, split personalities when it comes to these type of topics. And of course, a lot of people who have experience or who have been near this are more empathetic, but there are a lot of people who defend people that they don't know, you know, simply because they
For
see
Sean.
you know, okay, they see all the glitz and glamour, and they see these, you know, personas. They're not real people, these are brands, you know what I'm saying? And they
From the
see all of
brand
that.
strategist.
Right,
From the brand
exactly.
strategist.
Exactly. So, you know, they're taking this approach of, you know, i i I can see why she would want to stay. She's a gold digger, she's this and that, you know, it's all the money, it's all the fame, it's da 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 da, because that's what they see, that's what they want, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's really all I had to say. I really enjoy hearing y'all stories and everything like that. um and you know, I hope that she's okay with settling. I really do.
I hope so too. And I hope she finds the healing that she needs as well. And it's a process. Healing is a
Yeah,
process,
I
you
think she
know.
needed more money, frankly.
I personally do think she could have taken. Looking through that and hearing all of the things that she went through, I don't even know how much money. I don't
I,
even know.
it feels like a bill,
You know,
like immediately $1 billion.
Well,
it
at
Like
was
least
a
he's
minimum,
not a billionaire anymore. That's
I
one thing.
guess.
And
Well,
his
all right,
brand's
y'all.
gonna hurt.
I'm gonna drop down, but that's all I had to say.
Well,
thank
thanks for
you.
coming up.
No problem. Bye, y'all.
Good night.
Was it Sheridan and then T Love? Well,
Yes, it was Sheridan. Hi, Sheridan.
Hi, everyone.
are we pronouncing your name right? Because you know I will butcher a name.
know I've been on your panel before, Mims. Hi, Mims. It's she Darion.
She Darion.
Jerry on. That's very
Hi,
pretty.
Miss Laney. How are you doing? Thank you.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. This has been a very,
Oh, it's Laney. It's Laney.
it's been one of those emotional nights.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should have brought my tissue box over here because yeah.
Well, I just want to point out that I think he settled with her for because he didn't want to be like an RK in a RICO because when she used the word trafficking and then there were other people brought into it, he learned from RK case and realized I'm going to go ahead on and settle because he knew everything that she was saying was very much so true. And then everybody started snooping and bringing back Lil clips, Lil this, Lil that, because for years, see, I was doing the era of Puff Daddy. I'm around his age, so I've been around when he first started. And so, with that being said, we knew a lot of things, but because of how high he was in the industry, a lot of people covered their things for him, just like they did for RK, even though they had a whole video out and the man still got away with it. So he didn't want to take that chance. And then on top of that, she had a very powerful lawyer. She had the lawyer that took down Harvey Weinstein. So if you can take down someone, if he can take down someone of that caliber, he's not going to play around and take that chance. One thing Diddy has always been a very smart man, shrewd, dangerous, no good, diabolical, but a very smart man. So one thing about that was, and I think to be honest, I think she got more than what they claimed that she originally wanted because he would right now at this point he desperate. Child, he'll do anything. He'll sell holes and everything to get rid of this lawsuit. Trust me, I know he will. Because if he want that all that stuff to come out, it's already known he wear a butt plug. Ooh, whatever else he be wearing, child. So he walk around with that. When you walk around with that in your butt, I'm a woman and I don't even go that route, boo boo. I like things to enter out, not enter in. But because he a man and he like things to enter in and not worried about the enter out, he don't want nobody knowing all that stuff. Because I know if that was me, I wouldn't want nothing. And then look what he wanted. BBC. What? I'm a woman. I want too much BBC. So, and the things he had that poor young lady doing, and then you got all these men in the what y'all call the red pill community, whatever this crazy crap they calling this stuff. These men talking about, oh, she said, oh, she this, oh, she that. You need a butt plug up your mouth because you just don't know what you're talking about. Don't mind me, child. I'm from Louisiana. I got my own little slang on things. But one note I also wanted to say on that thing is everything that everybody has said on the panel is right. I'm a survivor of an SA and physical abuse from years. And they said, oh, why don't you leave? I left. Every time I left, it was the same way as Diddy was with Cassie. No matter where I went, he found me, came and got me. And for the sake of him doing things to my family where I was at, I went ahead and just took the blunt of whatever I was going to get from him. I had 3 kids, and it got to the point to where I left and got my own place. And I had my kids one time with a family member because I went out. I wasn't with him no more. He's supposed to have had an old woman, nut bag. I get in my house to go to sleep after having fun. He broke up in my house. And he ordered me. And from that, I wind up getting pregnant. So then I had to deal with the simple fact if even already had 3 kids, I had to deal with the simple fact now, do I want this child from that situation? And I didn't know what to do. And back then, getting you know,
Terminating a pregnancy.
real love, you know what I'm saying? That wasn't as easy back then as it is now. So I thought of a master plan because he was one of them street dudes, if you know what I mean. So I got smart when I had to go back. Yeah. So I had started skimming some money, you know, and just tucking it away because I already knew that day was going to come back again, even though he was with a whole nother woman. But he couldn't let me go for some strange reason. He's a psycho. And so what happened was, so I said, all right, as I set my strategy plan, I got a job. I went to work. I would let his mama watch the kids. One day, after being out in, he done gave me two black eyes. When he tied me up, he burnt me with hangers on the stove all on my back like I was in modern slavery or something. I got through picking cotton old nut bag. But don't worry, y'all, because I got them back. Ooh, trust me. I'm a southern woman through and through. I took them whippings, but I got me some whipping back from all that boo-boo. So then after that, okay, I had all that going on. Last time, after he kidnapped me, him and his girl kidnapped me from work, threw me in the trunk of the car, drove me to the levee, beat me real bad. I said, all right, that was the last time. When I decided to leave, I went to work. I resigned from my job. I went to go and pick up my children from his mother. Him and his girl waited there for me. I had a knife. I went, she came out there, la 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 la, because they thought I couldn't fight because I was quiet, you know. They just gassed her up. I whipped that heifer out of her clothes. I whipped that ponytail off her head. She had no with a little pigtail on the top of that old bald head heifer, but I bet you she'll never jump again because I whipped that hoe out her drawers, boo boo. He got mad. He decided he wanted to jump in to help his bald head hoe. And I draw out my knife and I got the jugging and sticking and swatch. That was Miss Black Jackie Chain, honey child. I jugged that sucker. I jugged that sucker in his behind. He had to go to the emergency room and get stitches. So every time that black, no good, diabolical, evil son think of me, he gonna think of me every time he gotta sit on his ass, baby, because I showed you I jugged that knife right up there because I was about to give him a colostomy bag. That was the last time, and that money that I skimmed and that money that I saved from that job, I took a plane that same night. I jumped on the plane with no clothes, no nothing. Me and my three children. I went on a plane and I flew to NYC because I had another place to go. That's where my mother was from. And I flew to NYC with my three children and I started my life. But you see, when that dude was raping me, he told the army, that dude told me, think about it, pick yourself up and try it again. At a Lil song. And that resonate with me till right now today. Once I left and he tried to come and get me, I said, you come my way, boo-boo. Your family gonna be looking for attempt to be looking for you because you'll be in the Hudson River. Come on to NYC. I got somebody that's waiting for you. I said, but you remember what you told me, you little evil black B? I said, you told me to pick myself up and try it again. You pick yourself up and try it again. Deuces, I'm good. Put myself in college. Became an advocate for children of SB, I guess what it is. And I've been doing good. And now I drive 18 wheelers. And for 17 years, every time I will go home to Louisiana, this man stalked me for 17 years. And when they said leave, you can leave. But if a person is that determined to have you, no matter what, they gonna do whatever it takes. And you see that woman that helped him to do that to me, she got every whooping that he couldn't give to me. And because she was another, she like a Carisha. Oh, he ain't gonna do me that way. But you see, when I left, she got twice as worse than what I got. One day going in Louisiana, he threw her off a bridge in a moving car. When she did leave him, she found me on Facebook. And I didn't want to answer because I couldn't stand a little ugly heifer. But some said, I'm in such a good place in my life. You can't hurt me because I didn't outran him on top of the world. I answered it. I said, hey, how you doing? She said, well, I just been trying to call you. I said, I know. I wasn't trying to answer. What do you want, child? I'm living my best life doing my thing, boo-boo. How can I help you, man? She said, well, I know you upset with me. I just want to call and just tell you you was right. And I'm sorry for everything you did. I said, you don't have to apologize to me. You need to apologize to yourself because I was a woman who was trying to tell you that man was no good. But you thought that you was better than me because you was high yelling. I'm a brown, beautiful chocolate. But you see, I bet you them bruises he put on you will last forever. The bruises he put on me, I found me a good man. I had the money. I had to get my whole back reconstructed. I paid big money. I wear those scars internally, but not on the outside. I can take a shirt off and not feel ashamed anymore because those marks were on my back like I was whipped with a whip in slavery. And I had to endure that through a pregnancy. I had to give birth, then turn around within 2 months to go back into the hospital to go to surgery to get my back reconstruct from what that man did me, and he still stalked me. One thing I say, when you can get you an opportunity to go, because trust me, on that other end, they always say you don't know if that grass is green on the other end. What they don't tell you is you already know how dark that grass is that you're in. You got a better shot on that other end because you never know what will be waiting around that corner or on that other side for you, who you meet, who you run into, what achievement and accomplishments you can do in life. I can do. You see, when I go back to Louisiana, I'm a old sexy something. When I go back there, nobody don't believe my age. They think my daughter. They think I got 4 kids. They think my oldest daughter. They think we are sisters. And every time he even see me, I tell him, if you step over here, I swear to God, I'm gonna jug your pee in your mouth, and you gonna walk around with a deep mouth for the rest of your life. Come over here. I got you. You better go whip them women over there. Because if you come over here, you're going to get whipped. He ain't bothering me no more. That's my story. Thank you.
Shadarian, you have a testimony. You have a testimony, ma'am. And I did not mean to laugh because it is a very serious subject. But the way that you actually gave us this testimony, it was inspiring. It was insightful. It was aspirational.
Right.
But it was also, some parts were funny. Glad that you made it out on the other side. Thank you so much. And thank you for supporting my sister, all you guys.
Yeah.
T-Love, you're
Thank you. I'm going to drop down. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you too.
Hello.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
T-Love.
Hi. I'm gonna make it quick because I know we passed the hard stop. I worked in the field and I worked with domestic violence victims, and I would go to a training every year. And one thing that always stuck out to me was we did a list of why people stay, and we did a list of what happens when people leave, and it was the exact same list. And what people don't understand, and what those who are skeptical of people staying, or have all types of judgments about why people stay, you have to understand, and it's very important to know, especially if you're going through this right now, that the most dangerous time is when you're going to leave. That's when most unalive situations happen. And so it is, if you can, imperative that you make a plan, because like the previous caller who just spoke, they will come after you if they have the means to do that. They will stalk you. They will bring you back. And so developing a plan, calling in most major cities now, there are places that there are domestic violence or DV shelters. There are hotlines, and that can give you resources in your community, or you know, you know, the next community over, to give you the resources to actually get out and be able to stay out and remain anonymous so that you can be safe. And so I understand, because people who don't understand DV, they look at it from a logical perspective, and it's not logical. You, people busting people inside the head and arming them and doing all that is not logical. Clearly, these are things that are wrong. So when you look at it logically, it's like, well, you got hit, so you leave. That sounds good. But if you're a mother and you're a stay-at-home mom, and yes, they do exist even in 2023. I am. I have 3 children, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. And if I wanted to leave, I had a career, I have a degree, I have all of that, but I've been out of the field for so long because I've been raising my children. I wouldn't even know where to start as it relates to, I don't, have resources, on my own. I have children that I have to protect. And so these are things that people have to take into consideration. You can't just leave into nothingness. It does that doesn't work that way, especially when you're responsible for other human beings. So I get it. And unfortunately, with our culture at this point, empathy is just thrown out the window. Um, and empathy is something that is taught. Most people aren't innately empathetic. So that's where the harsh judgments come in, because they're thinking it from their perspective. If that happened to me, ain't no way, da, 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 until it happens to you, because they're not beating you up 24/7. Just like Kiki said, there was love bombing going on. It's very, I'm saying, when Cassie said the gifts and all of that helps you stay. Um, for those who don't know about it, look up the cycle of violence. It's a chart, and it's a circle because it's a cycle, and it'll show you the different stages of it, and it can help explain why someone would stay, because generally speaking, when there's an incident, then comes the loving, then comes the affection, then comes the gift, then comes all of the things that remind you why you got in it in the first place. And then you go through the cycle again. So, it's one of those things that, people don't understand, and they're going to be judgmental. But if this call gave you anything, or maybe just a tinge in your little heart, go look some of that stuff up. Look up the cycle of violence. Really meditate on these things, the stories that you heard today, because if you're not too far gone, it can help you develop some empathy for people instead of being so judgmental and nasty. And also, I understand a lot of it is because people are miserable in their own lives, so therefore they then spew all that mess into other people. But my main point was just for those who are going through it, or if you know someone who's going through it, because it's easy to say get out. Are you letting them stay with you? With the crazy dude who's gonna come, you know what I'm saying, who could possibly shoot up your house too? You know what I mean? So help people with giving them information and resources to enable them to get out and be able to remain out and remain alive on the other side. So that's all I just want to share.
Thank you so much. And that was some really, really good information. I think that was a good note to kind of end this live on, making sure that, people realize that there is help out there. There are hotlines, like you said, there are shelters. And there are reasons that people haven't decided to leave. But when they do, there's resources that are out there and available to them. And you're not alone.
Thank you.
Right? We've heard a lot of stories today that really let us know that a lot of us have been through this, And a lot of times people don't know. They don't always have a platform to share, and they're not able to share, and it's hard to share. I'm going to tell you, like I said, it took me a while to be able to share my story. And even though, there's some horrible stories that we heard today, I know it took a lot for each person that came up and shared. And I really thank you so much for sharing your stories and being open and being honest and, feeling like this is a safe space to be able to do that. even though I'm like on the verge of
Thank you
tears.
for having the call.
Yeah.
Well, you did a wonderful job for your first live. And
Thank you.
you did great. You look beautiful. You're very handsome, Mims. And so
Blowing up her head. Oh Lord.
No, I need it because again, like I said, I was staring in that mirror because I knew I was like crying today and going through all these emotional things. I was like, I know my eyes are a little bit puffy, but I'm gonna do this, and did my little ribbon cutting, and this is what it was for. And I'm glad it was a really good live. I enjoyed it.
yeah, you did a great job. So
You're up
thank
to
you.
almost 300 subscribers.
Have a good
now.
night.
Yay!
You're at like I think 282. So thank you guys for subscribing. Y'all know it's way past my bedtime. Thank you guys for sharing your stories. And all of her content is not going to be this deep. She has other content coming. She might do lives where she does open panels. She might do Reddit type things. She might just do things that she sees, like hot topics. But I'll definitely let you guys know when she's live.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm about to eat my pizza and go to bed because I did not have a drink.
Oh, me neither, but I'm not a big drinker, so
Yeah, it was a mess a couple nights ago at my last open panel. So thank you guys again. I think this was a great first live, and now you done told all your business, so everything else should be easy.
That's true. This was like the first step is the hardest, and I like jumped right in. So yeah, they kind of know me. They know a lot more than some people, that are closest to me know. So
All right. Well, good night, guys. There's a button at the top of the screen that says end.
yeah.
Okay, you have to do it and then confirm, and we're out. See y'all
All right.
later.
Thank you.